Hello, hello, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to another segment of the Proactive Protection Vodcast with Miss Lynette Hillian, independent advisor.
Yeah.
She's here for you. How you doing this wonderful day, this chilly day or so?
I'm great now that I'm inside because this morning was just a beast. It
Oh
was
yes,
cold.
it was definitely yes. Hey, but we're grateful for the season weather and things like that, and we are proactively being protected. So hey, bringing that big jacket and that.
You sure better have one. I had a
Yeah,
jacket and a sweater, a
yes,
turtleneck,
sir.
and some boots on today.
There you go. Hey, you was prepared. You was proactive in it. That's
It
it.
sure
Hey.
was.
Oh yeah, yes. So you still have that turtleneck on. All right, that's
I
what's up.
sure do. You know
Yeah. Yes.
it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Hey, look, you all just tuning in. Hey, this is a weekly podcast show that's telling you about being proactively protected, all right, and dealing with financial security. And so hey, you know what, let's get right into it. We're gonna be talking about the beneficiaries, the five W's. That's right, the five W's. So this should be interesting. All right, Lynette, go ahead, take it away.
How are y'all doing this evening? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. Everything was delicious, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself spending time with families and just being together. And I'm sure that you had that same experience. And so I thought of this topic because we talked about different types of insurance, is what you call it. I call it proactive protection. So we talked about the types, we talked about term, we talked about permanent, we talked about whole life, we've talked about a variety. But one of the other crucial aspects of proactive protection is beneficiaries. So when I thought about that, I said, no, when you say beneficiaries, there are five W's. So one of them is who, what, when, where, and why. So one of the most important, I think, before you even start with the other W's is what is it? What is a beneficiary? So, a beneficiary is an individual or an entity that you select when you are in the process of applying for a proactive protection option. And this is an individual or an entity that will, in the event of your death, will receive particular proceeds from the, which would mean the proactive protection policy. So that is what a beneficiary is. So when you hear the word beneficiary, that's what it means. It could be the individual or entity that, to which you're leaving your policy. Now, when you have a beneficiary, you can decide on the percentage. So if you have five beneficiaries and 100% of whatever the policy is, and you want, say, well, I want each one of them to receive 20% of whatever the policy is. So whatever is 20% of the policy, that's what each beneficiary will receive. In some cases, you can also, if you so choose, is to have what they call a contingent beneficiary. Now, a contingent beneficiary is an individual that, for example, if let's say if you have one beneficiary or several that are listed previously, and if they predecease you, then the contingent beneficiary would be the one who would receive the proceeds from the policy or the proactive protection option. So that's what it is. Who is totally another W is totally up to you. In the event of your death, who would you want to leave the proceeds of that particular proactive protection option or policy? And that is of your choosing. So you think about that as well, not only when you're applying, but also for those of you who have a policy. So that would really get into the when. So it could be at the application, you make the decision. If there is something that should change later on after you have been issued the policy, you've been approved and qualify for the particular option, then you may change your beneficiary because we have different life events that occur. So, for example, if you were to obtain and be qualified for a proactive protection policy and you're single, and then you get married and you say, well, I'd like my spouse to be my beneficiary, that will require you to change that information, but there's a form that has to be completed. And then you would submit that either to the advisor or the company itself. But if you have an advisor, that would be best. So if I have changes that I need to make, I've called the actual carrier or insurer, and there's a form that they will send to you asking particular information. So that's another W. So when it could be, like I said, when there's an event, a major event that's taking place, a marriage, a divorce, the birth of a child, and at those times you're able to actually change your beneficiary. So it's not necessarily set in stone. So I don't want people to think, well, when I do it with the application at the beginning and I'm qualified for it, and now I have this particular option, this policy, and I don't have the option to change my beneficiary. And that is not so. You can do that. But there's, of course, information that a form you'd have to submit in order to do that, because there are questions. They want to make sure you are who you say you are, and things of that nature. They do that. They take that seriously in terms of just making sure that the information they need is accurate. So keep that in mind. And so the other one is why. Why beneficiary? Or why would I select a particular person to be a beneficiary? And that is totally based on your individual wants. Who would you want to leave something to in the event of your death? Who would you want to receive those monies or those proceeds? So it really depends on, really, a lot of this is not something that it requires forethought, and that's why it's important to be proactive about it and not put it off, because you want to have some type of security in place. Because as I've said before, life changes, things happen, and you just want to be proactively protected and prepared. So that's what that's about. So we talked about what it is, who, we talked about when, why, and the where really ties into when you actually, one of them would be when you actually apply to see if you qualify for a particular option. So the where would be on your application. So that is the where. Wherever you're signing the application at the time, that would be the where. It was on the application, and you make that designation at that time. You can also, as I said before, if you are eligible or what we call as qualified or approved, then after it's issued, if you so desire and you say, well, there's some other events that have occurred and I would prefer to change my beneficiary. So you have a right to do that. You can do that. And if an event occurs, like I said, a marriage, a divorce, other events that have occurred, and you would like to change or make a revision in terms of the beneficiary, you're able to do that. And there's a form that you would need to complete for that. So I've gone through all the W's, the who, what, when, where, why. And so with that being said, if you already have a policy or a proactive protection policy or option, that also you want to think about that as well. As I said before, not those, just those who may not have a policy at this particular time, but also those who already do have. Also, it's important that you also review with your advisor your policy. Is, again, all of this ties in together, so it's not separate in terms of, well, I have the application, then after the application is completed, I'm fine, I'm approved, and that's it. No, after that, as life changes occur, life events occur, or you have questions about, well, I'd like to change this. I don't necessarily want whomever to be the beneficiary anymore, or I want to add a beneficiary. So, that's why it's important that we do this proactively right now while you have a voice to do so. Because it may be another time you may not be able to make those changes. So that is beneficiaries. That's pretty much what it is in a nutshell.
Man, hey, that sounds pretty more business like. Yeah, this is the who, what, where, why. So interesting.
Yes, yes. So it's something, it's far beyond just, I'm going to apply for a particular option, and then when it's issued, that's it. You should always review with your advisor at least once a year. Because again, if there have been some changes in your life, you may need to add a beneficiary, actually remove a beneficiary, maybe add a contingent. I mean, you're able to do that as the owner of the policy.
Okay, all right.
The
Again,
owner is able to do that.
if you have any questions, all right, feel free to type them in there. All right. Again, any questions or comments concerning the beneficiaries? This is again the proactive podcast. Excuse me, the proactive protection
You had
podcast.
a lot of turkey,
Podcast.
right?
I know, right? Yes.
Thinking about that
Yes.
turkey. I know. Oh my gosh, that was such good eating. Oh
Yes.
my goodness, that was
Yeah.
delicious. So
Good.
yeah, so
Awesome.
yeah, so that, keep that in mind. I'm glad you said that.
Hmm.
Not about the turkey, but yes, I was having fond memories. But about how, you know it's only the owner of the policy is the one that can make those changes.
Hmm.
The owners can. So someone can say, well, I'd like to add myself as a beneficiary to someone else's policy. You know, it would have to be the owner is the one that makes the changes.
Right. I
You're the
mean, you
one.
can ask them. So,
Yeah, you can ask them, but it's like, that's up to you. About, it's you have we were found eligible or approved for this particular option. So it is totally up to the owner what you like to do. And sometimes they're joint owners. It just
oh, okay.
depends on what type of policy. It just depends. This when I say proactive protection, there is so many different facets of it.
Uh
You
huh.
know, if you're single, then there may be certain people you want beneficiaries. If you're married, there are certain people you want beneficiaries. If you get married and maybe you want to keep one of the policy that you have, and maybe you want to obtain see if you qualify for another policy for your spouse to benefit. It depends on the needs. It depends on your needs. If you say, well, I'm just going to use the one policy and I'm going to divide it up. And so, if I have a particular policy and I have 5 people and I want to give all of them 20%, I could do that. If I wanted to give someone 50% and the others could, get something else, 20, 25, you can do that as well. Because they ask you, what percentage of that do you want this particular beneficiary to have? It doesn't always have to be equal. It just depends on what it is. What are your wishes? What do you want to happen?
That's why you got always have to be nice to people. You never know. Hey, that's right. You never know.
Yeah,
Wow.
kindness
Hey,
goes a long way, but
kindness goes a long way.
but
Yes.
just keep that in mind, and that's why it's important to have a voice now. It's important to do that now and not later, or you don't, you have a policy from 20 years ago and you haven't revisited it. It's important to do that. And beneficiaries are not just for your permanent options like whole life, that also is for your term as well. And remember what I said about the two: permanent, it accumulates cash value, okay? It can follow you for the rest of your life. Whereas term is a particular period of time, which could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on what your needs are and what goals you have. So keep that in mind as well. No
Awesome.
questions.
Definitely. Hey, again, questions. All right. Feel
No
free.
questions.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Hey,
Wow.
you know,
I know some of you are probably still recovering from things. I totally get it. I
that's what
get
it
it.
is.
But and I know, I tend to try to be on the lighter side of it. But when you say beneficiary, there's one who's going to benefit from, as a result of your death. And again, I say proactive protection, that doesn't necessarily mean just death. But in this particular instance, it does. In planning for, in terms of when you have the policy and who would you like to receive the proceeds. And when they receive those proceeds, that may help to bury you or whatever your wishes are, which goes into something else. Again, I've talked about this before with wills. Wills, and actually they call them advanced health plans as well.
Oh, okay.
All of that everything ties in. It's not like a separate entity. So you have proactive protection. That is my realm, my area. When it comes to wills, trust, advanced care plans, that is something totally different from me. But they work, they're like this. I have where I'm proactively protecting my families. I have my family members, my children, my spouse, those whom you love, were dear to you. You have that option and you have the beneficiaries of that. Okay. Now, wills, you are actually also stating that, and this is just an overview because I'm not an attorney, but a will, you're also proactively stating what you want to happen to your assets when you die. Okay. Then you have the advanced care plan. And the reason I mention all this because Miss Hillian, that would be me, of course, and I have recently, in terms of wills and advanced care plans and power of attorney and all of that. So I've completed all of those. And I didn't do those on my own. I went to an attorney. And in some instances, you don't necessarily have to see an attorney for. I did. So I'm speaking on personal experience. I'm not telling you to do it or not do it, but I did it for me because I feel that an attorney is they will know the law of the state. It may be different in each state, so they really are informed about that. And you want to make sure, as I said before, as we talk about proactive protection, that you're informed. So that time when you start making decisions, that you're aware based on the laws of the state in which you live. So that's why I decided to consult an attorney. And I was able to do my will, I was able to do my advanced care, and I was able to do my power of attorney. So I'm not, and as you know, I believe in being transparent with you because, again, I'm saying this because I have had that experience and I've gone through that. So it's important that what they used to say, make sure you get your house in order, is what they used to say. You know, and how you do that is making some proactive decisions. So you're not reactive, being proactive. Because as you know, life changes in an instant.
Yeah, yeah. They used to say that get your house in order, right?
Get your house in order. Yeah, they used to say that. People are like, what? Yes, they used to say that. That's something I would
Hmm.
hear often. Get your house in order. Make sure it's in order. And the reason being that life changes quickly, and you just want to make sure that you are taking care of those who are near and dear to you in the event that you're not able to use your voice. Being voice making, when I say using your voice, it means making decisions. So
Yeah, wow, that's good. That's good stuff right there.
yes, it's a lot. All of it fits together. It all fits together. It all seems like it's kind of out there, but it fits in terms of when an event occurs, whether that's death or whether it's sickness or what have you, that you have a plan in place.
Wow, wow. Again, hey, scan the QR code right there. All right. I guess she's not selling you anything, just giving you information. If you want more, so to talk about it, yeah, she will definitely engage you, and pretty much give you information that definitely going to help you. All
Mhm.
right. I know we talked offline, or so. What about with a lot of these advertisements again for us, insurance companies or so, and promoting the life insurance and no medical exams and all that other bells and whistles. So to make it look appealing, um, what should consumers look for whenever they see those commercials?
Well, no matter who it is, but whoever the carrier is and whoever is the insurer, whatever company it is, if you have questions, ask about it. Because like I said, you want to be informed. So if they say, for example, and there are some instances there's no medical exam, but under what circumstances is that? Is it a particular age? Is it one of the particular options? What exactly, or would I qualify for that particular? I know what I saw on the television, and so would I qualify, or how could I qualify, or what are the conditions for this? Ask so you know. Ask so you know, so you're informed. Because what is being, what you may see in the media, wherever it may be, it may not be the option for you based on your particular needs. Again, so you have to remember that the different options that are presented to you, there are certain guidelines and requirements. It could be an age. Especially if it's a guaranteed life, those sometimes start at age 40, some are 50. And if you, like I said, if you're 30, 31, you would not qualify for that because guess what? You're not 40 or 50. So you have to keep that in mind because it may just be simply at that time you're not at the particular age to even qualify and apply for that particular option. So we have to keep, that's why it's good to ask questions, because you may see and say, oh, you know what, I really want to get that one. But you say, well, what is the age? Is there an age, or would I even qualify? I'm 39, and the option that may be presented to you may be for those who are 50 and over. So again, you will not qualify for that because you are 39 and you're not 50. Now there may be some that are 40, or they may have other options, and it may not have been the one that they presented to you, but there may be other options that you do qualify for, possible. So just keep that in mind, that when when they're presented, ask questions, think about it. We've talked for the past, what, 3 months? And
Mm.
so just really start thinking about, well, I see that they're advertising, or they're presenting me with this information. What are some questions I could ask? So if this is not the right option for me, or I don't qualify for that because I'm not in that age range, then is there some other option available to me? So again, that goes with the needs analysis. What did I say? That's that you all know that's one of my outside of proactive protection,
Right.
needs analysis. You have to analyze the needs of your clients. You have to do that.
There you go. Wow. Yep. That is your word. That's one of your words.
I have
Needs
several.
analysis. Yes. Hey, that's what's been promoted on the show. That and proactive protection. And if
Mhm.
you got any questions, there's a number right there. Go ahead and give her a call. Okay. Or if you don't want to call, go ahead and scan the QR code. Oh, wait a minute. Do we even have a QR? Man,
Oh
I'm
no,
so
I did. I'm
sorry.
so used to seeing it up there.
I know I'm slipping. Oh man.
There we
Hey,
go. All right.
there we
I'm
go.
surprised no one said, "Well, we don't see it there."
Man.
They probably saw it too. Like,
Oh man.
I'm used to seeing it, so
But
and I'm
there it
so
is.
engaged. I'm engaged with
With the
those who are
discussion.
watching. So I
Right.
think that's what it is.
That's what
I'm
it is.
focusing on them to make sure I give them all the nuggets that I feel that will be helpful to them.
You've been given a lot of great nuggets, definitely.
I've been trying to because I just want you to be proactively protected. It's important. It's
That's
important
it.
to do that.
That's it. Again, if you have any questions, all right, feel free to type them in there. We'd definitely love to answer them for you. Again, the beneficiaries, the 5 W's. That's what we talked about today. And yes, it's good to know this information. We could,
Mhm.
again, there's the QR code, or just go ahead and simply give her a call. All right.
Mhm.
Definitely would love to hear from you.
And if there is something you've come across and you like, well, Lynette, I'd like to, could you possibly talk about that during your vodcast? Or could you possibly have someone come on who could give me more information about a particular topic or something that's of interest to you? You can do that as well. Give me a call and say, I really like to know more about this. And I know you mentioned wills and all of that. And I know that's not necessarily your area, but is it possible that you could have an attorney come on and talk about that? And again, even having an attorney come on, it would depend on which state you're in. So it would really depend on that.
That would be great. Definitely.
So if you have ideas, let me know, and I'll see what I can do on my end.
Please do. Please do. Wow. Awesome. Again, um, yeah, we're talking with Miss Lynette Hillian, the independent advisor. All right, the Proactive Protection podcast. And so just make sure that you go ahead on and scan that QR code there. All right,
Exactly.
go ahead. Hey, she's waiting for you, as well as, or
Right.
simply give her a call. All right, she has some great valuable information, and yeah,
Mhm.
and we have to learn how to get out of being afraid to ask questions,
Mhm.
because that's the only way that we're going to get information and grow. All right, a closed mouth never gets fed.
Right.
So
And I will ask lots of questions. That's just how I am, though. If I
mhm,
want to make sure I'm clear,
there you go.
So one thing I don't, um, I mean, this goes back to being an educator, that whenever you're talking to whomever your audience is, whether it's children, whether it's adults, whomever you're communicating with, when you give erroneous information or incorrect information or unclear information, then that may impact the decisions that that person makes. So I want to make sure I'm clear. And I ask a lot of questions because, well, what about this circumstance? Well, what about this particular circumstance? Well, would this apply to them? Well, because a lot of times there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to this. So that's why I tend to say ask the questions, because that's essential. Because you want to be clear. and you want to be understood as well when you're asking the questions, and that also helps us as advisors to advise you.
Definitely. Well, hey, another great vodcast show. All right. Again, as we dealt with the beneficiaries, the five
Mhm.
W's. Okay. Again, if you got any more questions, would like more information, go ahead and contact her. All right. 757-598-2132, or simply scan the QR code. And yes, she would definitely get back with you. All right. Again, let's be proactive. All right. Be proactive about our life. All right. Any last words you want to say, Miss Hillian?
Just that, all that we've talked about these past 3 months, I'm sure it's been a lot of information. I'm sure of that. But I believe it's best to get it out in the open. You can start thinking about it, talking about it with your loved ones. If you like me to talk to them about it, I'd be more than happy to do that. So that it's clear, and you may not remember everything I've said, but I can certainly answer their questions and see what their goals and their needs are. I can, that's a start.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Well, again, until next time, hey, you all have a safe one out there, and we look forward to seeing you again on the Proactive Protection Podcast with Miss Lynette Hillian, Independent Advisor.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.